Good morning. I'm Jeff Henderson, the worship associate this morning, and I have a few announcements for you before we begin our service. Am I audible? No? Oh, okay. Okay. A warm welcome to everyone this morning, to those of you here in person, and to those watching on YouTube. Everyone is welcome here, whether your heritage, your age, your income, your abilities, and whatever your religious beliefs, and however you choose to participate, in person or on YouTube. As a welcoming congregation, we affirm the full inclusion of people of all sexual orientations and gender identities. A very special welcome to any visitors with us this morning. If you'd like to get connected and learn more about our community life, please take a moment to fill out a yellow pew card located on the back of the seat in front of you, or sign the guest book in the vestibule. We hope you will join us downstairs in our social hall following the service for refreshments, so we have a chance to connect in person. To reach the social hall, we exit through this door behind me, down the hall, and down the stairs. The restrooms are over there too. The newest episode of our monthly podcast, Siding with Love, has arrived. We had a glitch with the link in the Friday email, but we'll figure that out so you can listen soon. Reverend Janet and Carol Bousquet had a great time discussing possibilities, which is our theme for the month as we emerge from this hard winter. Hopefully reemerge. I was in Boston on Friday, and it was warm and green down there, so it's on its way. And Janet noticed that the Liberty Tree Mall was getting a little bit green. Saturday evening, April 18th, the Gloucester Meeting House Foundation is presenting the Essex Piano Trio here in the sanctuary. These are excellent musicians who always offer a wonderful program. More information is available in the Friday email or on posters around the church. The concert starts at 7:30. That's April 18th. And then coming up on May 2nd is a concert by our own Deb Hardy and friends. Deb is a longtime church member and is offering this concert here for the benefit of the church. Mark your calendars to come hear Deb and friends, Brian King and Alice Underhill. That's Saturday, May 2nd at 2 p.m. Our next book discussion is coming up on May 12th. We'll be reading River of the Gods by Candace Millard. And that's a book about the source of the Nile River. This promises to be a great read. Everyone is welcome to join the conversation. Again, May 12 at 3 o'clock. Our Friday drop-in lunch takes place in the Williams Room downstairs every Friday at noon. There are some lively conversations happening. Everyone is welcome. If you're not receiving our weekly email, please contact Christine in the church office and she will add you to the list. Before we begin, if the folks watching from home would like to light a candle or chalice along with us here, please go and get one now so that we can perform this ritual together in spirit. Thank you.
was lovely. I was thinking about how much I have to say to you this morning. It's too much. First of all, I wanted to acknowledge that we have a brand new banner. Sally Waite came in this morning and brought in a nice, beautiful Hope Springs banner for us. The folks over here can't see it, but it's hanging right over your heads. Thank you, Sally. Few things. First of all, I have an update on the podcast. You can reach it by going to our YouTube channel, which you can access through on our web. We can access on our website. So if you're interested, you can go to the website and then go to the link to the YouTube channel. It'll be right there. Let's see, what else? I wanted to announce that we're going to be having a new member ceremony in our service on May 3rd. So if you've been thinking about joining, if the time is feeling right for you, I'm hoping that you will come and let me know. We can talk more, but we would be delighted to have you consider deepening your relationship and stepping toward membership with us. And if it's not the right time, that's fine too. And as part of that, if you saw in your weekly email that we are putting out a call for people to find ways to get involved and volunteering. We love to call these volunteer opportunities, but they really are, it's a great way to meet people and to get connected. So again, if there's things that you'd be particularly interested in participating in, you can talk to me or talk to Holly Tangway. We would love to connect with you in different ways. And then I think, I wanted to share that Friday we had an anniversary. Friday was the 10th anniversary of my installation here at the church. So if you can believe it. Yeah. What a 10 years it's been. But the relationships have deepened, and there's been a great deal of joy in amidst all the work and worry and effort. And I just want to thank you for being with me here for these 10 years and doing all this work together. So with that, let us deepen our hearts and our spirits for worship. Don't leave your broken heart at the door. Bring it to the altar of life. Don't leave your anger behind. It has high standards, and the world needs vision. Bring them with you, and your joy and your passion. Bring your loving and your courage and your conviction. Bring your need for healing and your power to heal. There is work to do, and you have all that you need to do it right here in this room. Let's begin here and now by worshiping together. Our opening hymn this morning is number 112 in your gray hymnal, Do You Hear? You're welcome to rise in body or in spirit. the Unitarian Universalist faith tradition, we enter into worship by the simple ritual of kindling our chalice. May this small flame remind us of the light that is always present in the world and that we carry within ourselves. As Jeff lights our chalice, if you have a candle or a chalice prepared at home, please light it with us now. We take a moment now to affirm the covenant that we share with one another. Newcomers and guests, the words of our affirmation are printed in your order of service if you'd like to read along with us. In the light of truth and the warmth of love, we gather to seek, to sustain, and to share. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. And please, you're welcome to be seated. As part of our services, we light a candle each week to express our hopes for an end to war in the world. Conflict continues to spread, and as more violent incidents take place here at home, we realize that the world as a whole becomes less safe as a result of war. And so we take this moment and we use this moment to speak for all those who have no voice in the midst of conflict. I invite us now into a time of prayer to be followed by silent meditation. Spirit of life and love, we have lived through so much in recent days. A threat of genocide, followed almost immediately by a ceasefire that no one is sure is real or can be trusted. We live in daily uncertainty, and we fear that there's little that we can do. And yet at the same time, our spirits and hearts were lifted by the return of our space program, sending humans farther into space than ever before. We are so grateful to have been given this opportunity in the midst of chaos to feel pride and delight and wonder. So much is being asked of us right now to wait through fear, to celebrate the success of our scientists, to share in the awe of the images of the heavens. We ask for clarity to hear truth, for wisdom to follow and grasp the daily turmoil, and for joy to break in when we are called to celebrate, and for a continued sense of awe and humility that help to make us human. We hold in our hearts all of our loved ones who cannot be here with us today. May they sense our care and our love. All this we ask in your name, which we know as love, as we enter into silence. Amen.
I invite us now to read together our responsive reading, which can be found on the insert in your order of service. Please read the boldface portions. Out of a community of diverse heritage and belief,
we come together to share our hope and to create good in the world.
the prophets of all traditions and times have taught that we are called to mercy, generosity, and mutual care.
And that to be great is to serve.
We know that there can be no enduring happiness for humanity so long as suffering and want go unrelieved.
Until all may be sheltered, none of us is truly at home.
May the power of our various faiths sustain us in this work, that we may be the hands of holy creativity and justice.
And together build a better world.
Now is the time in our service when we offer our commitment and generosity. This church is one of over 1,000 Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world, each entirely self-supporting, each gathering in community to deepen our spiritual lives and to work for justice in the world. We are here today because of the love and the faith of the generations of members and friends who believed in this community and who have gone before us. We carry on the work that they began, and we will continue the story forward for those who come after us. For the life and health of this congregation and its ministries, this morning's offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you for your generosity. Blessings upon the givers and upon your gifts.
A friend of mine named Richard Feldman wrote this song decades ago. And I always remembered it. It's a song about the passage of time. Sunday morning, sun is dawning, rain clouds flying up above. Light the lamps and read a book and spend the day in love. Brush the dog and save the hair. I'll weave a coat to keep you warm. No use dressing. Stay in bed till Sunday morning's gone. I left my shoes out in your hallway. Sunday morning, gone.
The reading is from Pity the Nation by Khalil Gibran. The Lebanese-American poet wrote this poem in 1933, and it influenced Lawrence Ferlinghetti to write a new version in 2007. Here is Gibran's original version. Pity the nation that is full of beliefs and empty of religion. Pity the nation that wears a cloth it does not weave, eats a bread it does not harvest, and drinks a wine that flows not from its own winepress. Pity the nation that acclaims the bully as hero, and that deems the glittering conqueror bountiful. Pity the nation that despises a passion in its dream, yet submits in its awakening. Pity the nation that raises not its voice, save when it walks in a funeral, boasts not except among its ruins, and will rebel not, save when its neck is laid between the sword and the block. Pity the nation whose statesman is a fox, whose philosopher is a juggler, and whose art is the art of patching and mimicking. Pity the nation that welcomes its new ruler with trumpetings and farewells him with hootings, only to welcome another with trumpeting again. Pity the nation whose sages are dumb with years and whose strong men are yet in the cradle. Pity the nation divided into fragments, each fragment deeming itself a nation. Here ends our reading.
It has been perhaps the most frightening week of recent memory. To find the equivalent, I found myself going back to September 11th, and then even further back to the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, when the United States confronted the discovery of Soviet missiles in Cuba and responded with a naval blockade of the island. What triggered these memories, of course, was the threat directed this past Tuesday morning by the President of the United States to the nation of Iran, proclaiming that, quote, an entire civilization will die tonight. I am sure many of us worried all day, wondering how real this threat was, whether it was the typical bluster of a bully, or if this time he truly meant it. For to imagine such total destruction, a threat of genocide, really, could only mean the use of nuclear weapons. It was a day of waiting, hoping, praying. I found that the words of William Butler Yeats's poem, The Second Coming, were playing in my mind as I waited, turning and turning in the widening gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. All day I wondered, would the center hold? That question was first raised during the presidential campaign of 2024. Repeated warnings that this second time around, President Trump would not accept the limitations of professionals, of self-restrained people. There will be no adults in the room, the country was warned. And on Tuesday, we got to see what that could ultimately look like. Could anything or anyone stop him? Could he stop himself? The no adults in the room warning has certainly proved to be true. This time, the president's staff consists exclusively of sycophants and opportunists, people only too happy to trade their integrity for access, to be in the room, at the table, so obsequious as they address the dozing president that the rest of us squirm. The president's spiritual advisor likens him to Jesus. Members of Congress are afraid of threats and of losing re-election bids. The military and the courts are holding the line as best they can, but we are seeing, with the recent firings of generals, that attempts are clearly being made to bring them to heel. The world has been here before. We have seen what happens when men with insatiable desire for power take control. Those of us who remember Napoleon from our history classes, and those who studied Adolf Hitler, which should be absolutely everyone, should be able to discern a particular pattern displayed by these types of men. They are incapable of stopping themselves. As the delusions of power consume them, they try frantically to acquire more and more power. And for a while, they seem to succeed. It begins with consolidating power at home, aided by the circle of sycophants. And then, still dissatisfied, they begin reaching beyond their borders. The playbook is always basically the same, as scholars like Timothy Snyder and Hannah Arendt tell us. Identify scapegoats, create divisions, and make it impossible for people to trust and believe each other. Erode the norms, especially the democratic norms that hold the center for a society. Reject any truth not coming from them. Believe me, they insist. For such people, any retreat forces them to confront their limitations, so there can be no reflection, no admission of guilt or shame or failure. Eventually, luckily for the world and its inhabitants, the delusions grow so consuming that the leader becomes incapable of any form of humility and becomes divorced from reality. One way or another, things do start to fall apart. What the presidential message from Easter Sunday, last Sunday, with its profane demands to the Iranians, and the following message this past Tuesday showed us is that we have reached a point that most of us never really believed would be possible. For 80 years, we've told ourselves this could never happen here. This week showed us that not only could it happen, in fact, it is happening. We have been brought to the brink. So, my dears, we were right to be afraid. And while the situation moderated, we don't have a clear picture of what the future holds for us. It was hard for me to bring this to you today. I always want our time together to be relevant, but also a safe refuge from everything that feels out of control for us. And yet the events of this week, a threat of committing war crimes, of genocide, demanded a reckoning, demanded a naming of exactly what is taking place as we watch. We must not look away, and we must speak. So, this has been a reckoning, yes, but at the same time, today, we also pause to look at what possibilities might emerge from this week. After all, our theme for April is possibilities. So we watch with clarity, but we also watch for reasons of hope.
Our second reading today is from The Cure at Troy by Seamus Heaney. A bit of background on this play. This is a play published in 1991, but it updates a much earlier play, Philoctetes, a play by Sophocles, which was produced 2,435 years ago. At a time when Athens was nearing the end of a devastating war that had dragged on now for 22 years. The play, Philoctetes, was set 700 years earlier than that, in the 10th year of the Trojan War, another Middle Eastern conflict, which the Greeks learned they could win only if they had possession of Philoctetes' bow. The problem was, at the start of the war, they had abandoned Philoctetes when he was too ill to travel on a deserted island. And now he was bitter and not inclined to help his treacherous comrades. Heaney's version was inspired in part by Nelson Mandela, a political prisoner for 27 years who was released as his country was on the brink of civil war and chose to save it as only he could. In 1995, Bill Clinton read our passage in Derry, Ireland during the Northern Ireland peace process. So the lesson in a way is that these things keep happening and they keep calling for forgiveness and moving forward. Human beings suffer. They torture one another, they get hurt, and they get hard. No poem or play or song can fully right a wrong inflicted and endured. History says, don't hope on this side of the grave. But then, once in a lifetime, the longed-for tidal wave of justice can rise up, and hope and history rhyme. So hope for a great sea change on the far side of revenge. Believe that a farther shore is reachable from here. Believe in miracles and cures and healing wells. Call miracles self-healing, the utter self-revealing, double take of feeling. If there's fire on the mountain and lightning and storm and a God speaks from the sky, that means something is hearing, the outcry and the birth cry of new life at its term. It means once in a lifetime that justice can rise up and hope and history rhyme.
There was so much meaning in the names chosen for NASA's lunar exploration program. First, Artemis. Artemis, the goddess of the hunt and of the moon. The female twin of Apollo, our last lunar mission so many years ago. NASA, those rocket scientists, can still think poetically, can still inspire us to great heights by their choice of names. And then the mission's crew chose the name for the space capsule that would reach for the moon: integrity. There's a word we need to hear more. In contrast with the basest instincts on display at the beginning of last week, as the week wore on, we were more and more captured and awed by the wonder of space exploration. Certainly those of us who remember watching all those Mercury and Apollo splashdowns on our black and white TVs were delighted Friday night to see it happening again. It brought back memories of an America striving for excellence, aspiring, embracing science and learning and exploration. Now, granted, it was also not a perfect America back in the 1960s and 1970s. There was Vietnam and deep unrest. There would not have been a female astronaut among the crew, nor an African American. And yet, here in 2026, there was a joy in remembering our shared striving and our quest for knowledge, and a pride in what we could accomplish with a shared mission. The sight of Earth from space continues to humble us. It reminds us that we are ultimately connected, all part of this cosmos. A moment ago, I mentioned that people who aspire to become autocrats lack humility. Perhaps, someone commented on social media, we need to send them into space. In an interview, the Artemis crew was asked to describe their mission. Christina Koch, who holds the record for longest space flight by a woman, didn't say historic. She said humility, and she named the workers who created the vessel. We definitely didn't pass the record up here alone. Jeremy Hansen said, right away, you are humbled. Victor Glover, talking about looking back at Earth, said, you look like one thing. Homo sapiens is all of us. This experience, reported by so many astronauts, of a changed perspective, of humility in the face of wonder, of a heightened sense of interconnection, is known as the overview effect. Astronauts, those scientists and engineers, end up having a profound religious experience during space travel of oneness, wholeness, interconnection. May we all hear their words and begin to look and listen with new eyes and ears. What possibilities Artemis II offered us this week? A chance to change the narrative, to remember a past with a shared mission and shared pride, and a chance to remember that we are all from the stars and are ultimately all one. Will there be a lasting effect? I choose to hope so. So there was joy this week and hope, and there was also resistance and more possibilities. As the bellicose rhetoric from the White House becomes less and less restrained, I have been reassured by the response of the American Pope, Pope Leo XIV. His has become a voice of clarity and principle, rejecting the claims of the Trump administration that the war with Iran is divinely inspired. God does not bless any conflict, responded the Pope. Anyone who is a disciple of Christ, the Prince of Peace, is never on the side of those who once wielded the sword and today drop bombs. Now, there are numerous religious leaders who speak in that same vein, including our own, the president of the UUA, Sophia Bettencourt. And those voices are welcome, and I wish they got more attention. But it is the Pope who can consistently summon coverage from the world's media, who can help to shape the narrative and to help hold the line, to hold the center, and counter the delusions and the wild claims of holy war. And he is doing it. He has also called for treating immigrants with respect and dignity. So far, and especially this week, Pope Leo is helping steady us to remind us that we do not commit atrocities in God's name. With his leadership, I am hopeful that more and more religious voices will be raised and heard, calling us back to the center, calling us to justice and mercy and peace. My friends, our week was a roller coaster. There will be more weeks like this. The only way that this president knows how to command the world's attention is to foster chaos and destruction. Our work every day must be to look for the possibilities, to watch for chances to act and speak, to remember to reach for the stars, to remember that we are all connected, living on one blue pearl of a planet. Our work is to listen for the voices that will hold us and center us and remind us, in the words of the prophet Micah, to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly. May it be so. Amen. I invite us to say together the unison prayer that is printed in your order of service. Days pass, and the years vanish, and we walk sightless among miracles. God, fill our eyes with seeing and our minds with knowing. Let there be moments when your presence, like lightning, illumines the darkness in which we walk. Help us to see, wherever we gaze, that the bush burns unconsumed, and we, clay touched by God, will reach out for holiness and exclaim in wonder, how filled with awe is this place, and we did not know it. Our closing hymn this morning is number 318 in your gray hymnal, We Would Be One. Take courage, friends. The way is often hard, the path is never clear, and the stakes are very high. Take courage, for deep down there is another truth. You are not alone. Amen. Those of you at home to hold up your candle or chalice, and together we will blow them out as we here say the words to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. May you go in peace and return in love. Amen.